Hello, and welcome to another episode of Spoken Voices. We hope that everyone is doing okay. We hope that everyone is healthy and happy and going on about their lives. It seems like it's been a while since I've been in the studio, but it's good to be back. And it's good to be back talking to the people who take the time to watch our show. We're December, what date is it? I don't even know what date it is. I know it's December. Let's see. It's December 7th. It's almost a new year. Time flies. And though we say that a lot, it is not an exaggeration. It is just the fact of life. Time is going on. We're about to be in 2023. And it seems like only yesterday that we started this. And it's almost been a little bit over 3 years. And it's always been a joy to come and talk to you all whenever the show airs, and hope that we affected your life in a positive way. Like every year, the end of the year, I like to kind of reflect on my life, and hopefully you can relate to what the things that I'm about to say. Yesterday, I happened to be at work, and I was talking to a fellow coworker about certain things, and because again, we were reflecting on the year and how quick it seems to have passed. So we were just sitting there and talking about certain things that we found to be interesting and a little intriguing, a little confusing, and how our lives have changed over the years. I'm 61 years old, so I was born in 1961. So just looking at the things that have transpired in my life, and the things I've seen, the changes I've seen happen, in the United States and in the world, it kind of makes you sit back and reflect about your life, of course, and the world itself. So we were talking about things, and hopefully the things that I go through, hopefully you all can relate to it, and maybe you'll see things the way I do, and maybe you won't. Maybe you'll have a better understanding of things that kind of confuses me. And actually was confusing my coworker too, and as we talked about it and we laughed, but we were still scratching our heads, and at some points, getting a little, not angry so much, but a little frustrated about how things have changed. And one of the things we were talking about is just life itself, how we perceive it, how we look at life and living, and what we and a lot of other people thought of as having a good life, because our lifespan, actually, if you look at it, it's not that long. We're born, and if we get into our 90s, we consider ourselves lucky. And we were looking at all the things that we dealt with so far through our lives. And I was thinking of just simple things that we take for granted. The opportunity that we have every morning to get up and live our lives. I was thinking about the things we worry about, and then I look at. Let's take an example as insurance, car insurance. I was talking to my wife, the producer of this show, about this last night too. I was saying that I've had an insurance company, and I've been with them since I was 25, I believe, when I started driving. I've probably had about maybe 1 or 2 accidents. One was major, but the other one was the fender bender. So you figure, and me and my friend and my wife was thinking about this, and we were saying, okay, the money that we put into every month for things like insurance. And if you calculate it, I wouldn't advise anybody to do this, because a lot of people would at one point go, well, you know what, I don't want it anymore because I haven't been in an accident, I'm never gonna have it again. But we need it. We legally need it to drive a car. But if you think about it a moment, if you have insurance for all of your life, say it's about 60 years or whatever, and you're putting this money into this insurance, this company, and you never have an accident. My question to my friend was, do we get a little bit of that back? can we get a little taste of the money that we've given you over the course of these many years? Are we able to get it back, at least a little bit? I know there are some insurances that give you an incentive if you're a good driver. They'll give you a check at the end of the year because you haven't gotten into the accidents, haven't had any claims of any sort. And the check is about $25. And if you think about it a minute, you would probably go, you can keep that. Or the check will come for $25 and you will never put it in the bank. You will never try to cash it. And it'll probably sit there forever. Once you've considered how much you have paid this company all the time you've had the insurance. Now, I was thinking about these things because it deals with how we live our lives every day. Life insurance. Life insurance is a great thing to have, of course, because if something happens, unfortunately, to us, there's a little bit of money. It's not a lot, unless you're filthy rich. But if you're the average Joe that works every day a 9 to 5, and you take out life insurance upon yourself and your wife, and something does happen to you, unfortunately, you know, how much do you really have, and how much is that really going to help with everything that comes after someone passes away? And I know this is kind of a morbid thought to be thinking about, but it's just something I was just thinking about. It kind of piqued my curiosity, right? So think about what you pay for funeral costs, whether you're cremated or put to rest in a casket and stuff like that. The amount of money that you have to pay a funeral parlor, as we used to call them, right, is astronomical. So you figure that takes probably over half of what your insurance will cover, which leaves very little for your family, which is insane to me, because everything seems to be a racket to me, a business, where you're working hard every day, you're getting up every morning, and your whole focus is taking care of my family. And I mean male, female, husband, wife. You're thinking about taking care of your family, making sure that your kids have a good life, making sure that you're able to have a good life with your wife after you stop working. We talked about that too. I remember a time when I used to hear people when I was young talking about having a pension, being able to say, okay, once I stop working here, I will have a pension at the end of this journey to keep me and my family solvent after I stop working. They don't exist anymore in most places. Most places have you take out a 401k plan, which is an investment into the stock market, realistically. That's exactly what it is. You're basically playing the stock market, whether you like it or not. And I think very few of us know how the stock exchange works. We get a perspective at the end, because I used to have a 401k. We get a perspective at the end of each quarter, I believe. And if you get it and you look at it, unless you know the stock market, it looks like another language to you. You don't really understand what your money is doing and if you're gaining or losing money in the market. And I think that's a shame, that if you work for a company for 20-something years, 30-something years, if you're really that dedicated, and your outlook at the end of those 30 years is no longer a company telling you that we've put this money aside for you for the rest of your life. The only places I know that does that is if you work for the state, or if you work for a company that you have a union, that basically at the end of when you stop working, you have a pension for the rest of your life. You also have insurance. I've seen so many people struggle, older people struggle, to make ends meet near their end of their life. And that's a shame, because when you get a certain age, you should be able to enjoy life, to go out, with your significant other. God willing, that person is still there. You should be able to go out and enjoy the fruits of your labor, as they used to say. But for most people, that's not a possibility, because they're still concerned about the same things they were concerned about when they started working. Somehow, some way, the American dream is just that, a dream, a fantasy, something to get us up in the morning and go and work for corporate America, work for whoever, and say, I hope that I can, at the end of this journey, I'll have something left to enjoy my life. A lot of people do, but there are so many more who don't. And I wonder, how do you think about life? What is life to you? What is living a good life to you? For me, and again, all this is my opinion, for me, living a good life is to be able to wake up in the morning and not worry about anything other than the fact of the health and the care of your children and your grandchildren and your significant other. That should be the only worry, in my view, of what we should be worrying about as this year comes to an end. Things like that really concern me. Whether you like the snow-capped mountains and the snow and the changing of the seasons of Connecticut, or the warmth and water and beaches of Florida or California, when you wake up in the morning, wouldn't it be nice to just wake up and go, thank you, another day of life? Whatever your beliefs are, whoever you want to thank. But to just get up and say, wow, this is great. I don't have to worry about working. I don't have to worry about a boss telling me anything to do. I can actually take 24 hours of my day, walk outside, get in my car, hold my wife's hand, hold my husband's hand, walk down a street, go to any place we want to go, and just live and enjoy it. Think of the grandkids coming over, and spending time with them as we get older, watching them grow, watching them have, and giving them words of wisdom of how to live their lives and be good people. But most of the time we can't do that. We're worrying about a water bill. We're worried about a mortgage. We're worried about health insurance. We're worried about life insurance. We're worried about car insurance. We're not living. We don't live anymore. It seems like we exist. We exist. And we all hear the things about people, especially people who are very, very religious, right? And I'm a spiritual person, and I read the Bible, and I believe there's a higher power than us. I believe in God. But that's just me, right? But I also believe in the Bible and what I read. and I believe that our existence wasn't supposed to be drudgery, going through life every day, as they used to call it, the rat race. I look at it more as a hamster on a spinning wheel that keeps going around and around and around. And if you do not take that hamster off that wheel, he will exhaust himself and either have a heart attack or just fall off, because he's so tired of running in a circle. And that's what we tend to do. Take a minute to think about that. Look at your own life. Ask yourself, how long have I been working? And then do yourself a favor. Go look at the Social Security website, sign into it, and it will give you what the time you can apply for Social Security benefits. But it will tell you each and every year you work. I am 61, I've worked over 40 years already. Over 40 years I've been working. And there are certain people who believe that even that should be eliminated. Social Security. You know, we gotta cut back on this. And so what they do to supplement that, they say, well, they keep bringing up the age from 66, I think it was 62. You can do it at 62, but they entice you by saying, well, if you wait until 65 or 67, you get a little more, right? You get a little bit more. And it's not a big difference between the time, right? But they say, if you wait till you're 70, oh boy, you get the biggest amount that you can possibly get based on the time that you've worked and the amount of money you've worked, the amount of money you've earned that they've taken Social Security out of, right? So you figure 70 years old, the average age expectancy, and I'm not going to give you an accurate number because I should have had it, but I'm not going to give it to you, right? It's probably around 80 something, especially for guys, for men. So you figure you retire at 70 years old. You said, I'm going to get that big lump sum at 70. I'm not going to do 62 because it's not enough. I'm not going to do 67. That's not enough either. I'm going to wait till 70. I'm going to work till I'm 70. Then I'm going to go and get that Social Security. So you figure the average age is like 85 for someone to exist on this planet. So you figure you only got yourself about a little bit over 10 years to enjoy it. If you don't take a step back and ask yourself, what's the point? What's the point of doing this, right? 62, I'm grabbing it at 62. I don't care what it is, right? Because I want to spend from 62 to the time I say goodbye to my loved ones, I want to enjoy this life. I want to smell the roses, as they say. I want to walk along the beach in the sun. I want to spend time with my wife. I want to spend a lot of time with my wife because you know, when it's time to say goodbye, that's got to be the saddest thing on the earth to do. Because my mindset is set this way because I've seen people in my life, my father, pass away at 40 years old and worked. He worked from the time he was 12 or so. And he took care of his family. And he had no idea this was coming down the road, but it did. At 40 years old, he left this earth. And that made me start thinking, even at a young age, right, that I want to live my life. I want to be an influence in my children's lives, in my grandchildren's lives. And I want to be a positive influence. I want to tell them to live. I don't want to tell them, you know what, work for some corporation and make this corporation's CEO, owner, rich. Take care of yourself. At the end of the day, they don't need your help. Find your own way. And that's why I've been blessed to have children, all 5 of them, that are entrepreneurs. That say, if I'm going to make $1, I want to keep that $1 for me and my family. I don't want to make $1 and give 75 cents of it back to the people that I work for. It's bad enough that we have to give so much back to the government that take our taxes. And that's why I always tell you guys, you know, we walk around and we truly believe that we own something while we're here on this earth. We own nothing. Because at the end of the day, if you have a home and you pay your 30-year mortgage off and you're happy that your 30-year mortgages no longer exist, and you say, well, I own my house. I finally own my house. No, you don't. Don't pay your taxes on that home. The state will come get your home. They will attach something to your home and come and get your home. And this is what I'm trying to tell everyone, is that don't place so much emphasis on the things that we can purchase, on the things that we can buy. don't do it. Because even if you pay off your car, you still have to pay taxes on your car. You're not paying the bank anymore. Again, who are you paying? You're paying the state, or you're paying the government for something or another. That never goes away. So we must think in our heads, what can we do to be happy? What piece of mind can we find to finally just be happy and not worry about everything? There are people who wake up every morning with worries, and it feels like the world is on their shoulder. How do I know this? Because I used to feel that way. I used to feel like I was carrying the weight of the world on my shoulder. Then I realized something. I can't. I can't carry the weight of the world. To wake up in the morning and feel like, oh my goodness, I gotta hurry up and get to work. Oh my God, I started to realize something, right? When I get to work, I'm going to do the best job that I can possibly do, right? I'm going to do the very best job. I'm not going to shirk my duties or do anything or find shortcuts or anything. But when I get there, right? I'm not going to have a heart attack on 95 trying to get to work on time with the knowledge in the back of my head. If anything happens to me out there, right, I'm going to be replaced. I am not expendable. I never looked at a job anymore to say that, you know what, without me, this place is going to fall apart, because it's not. The only thing that will fall apart if something happens to me is my family. Those are the only people that will really, really miss me. And once you get that into your heads, once you realize the only people that should really, really matter to you are those who love you. Because the other people say, I once knew him or her. You're not that important to everybody else. So don't waste your time and energy. Take all that energy and most of the energy that you have, right? And love your family. Love. Because that goes a long way. It goes a long way after you leave this place. If you leave an impression upon the people, your wife, your children, and your grandchildren, if you leave an impression upon them, a positive impression, do you realize how much that pushes them to be good people and to do good things and to enjoy this life? The things that I've learned from the people that I have known, the loved ones that I have known that has passed on from this world, pushes me through today. Where each day for me is a joy. Each day for me is happiness and a joyful existence in this world while I'm here. And yes, I would be remiss in thinking and letting you guys think that I think that the world is completely rosy and I never get upset. I get upset a lot. But the things I get upset about is how people have no regard for other people. Things like that annoy me, right? A job doesn't annoy me. Going to work doesn't annoy me. It doesn't. It is what it is. It means to an end. But it's seeing other people treat other people with disrespect, without caring, and without knowing one simple thing. That person is just like me. They want the same things in their lives that I want in mine. And with that in mind, you would treat people the way a person should be treated. In closing, I want to tell everybody to have a happy new year. Have a prosperous new year. And I don't mean just monetarily. I mean have a prosperous new year with love. Love one another, look out for one another, and most of all, teach your children to respect one another and other people. We want you guys to have a happy new year, a Merry Christmas, and all that good stuff. And we'll see you again on Spoken Voices.
Can you please say that makes plan, that's left?
Yes. You're going to edit it in? All right. And always remember what we say. Man makes plans. God smiles. Take care. Have a good one.